everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dropout Report, your one and only source for all of the geek news. I'm your host, Ryan Taylor, and let's hop right into it. Of course, Dropout Report being a podcast from Jedi Dropouts Productions, what better way to start this episode than with some Star Wars news? Okay, first off, the Jon Favreau Star Wars live-action series that is in the works. Some details have been coming out about it here. Some of them factual, some of them rumored. Kind of hard to tell where the line is, but we'll speculate for now. Right now, it is apparently being set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, which, that's an exciting time. I mean, in terms of the fact that we haven't seen a whole lot of that, none of it at all in the live action, that is really fucking cool. There's a lot to explore there. It apparently focuses on the planet Mandalore and is set around the Mandalorians, which I know a lot of people are going to be very excited about. And the show may even include events and characters from the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, which have huge fan bases, and I can definitely see this being exciting for a lot of Star Wars fans. Some of them, some good friends of mine, will be very excited to hear this. The show itself, the 10-episode first season, apparently has a $100 million budget. So roughly $10 million an episode. That's a pretty fucking expensive TV show. I think this is gonna go real well. Jon Favreau has shown time and time again he knows what he's doing. With Iron Man, with the Jungle Book, the upcoming Lion King is I have my hopes high for. I think this is really, really cool. I'm excited to see what he's going to do here. And one other piece of Star Wars news, it has come out that the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie that is in the works, apparently Ewan McGregor has nothing to do with it, which is disappointing. I know we all love Ewan McGregor, but I think this could still work. I'm curious to see where they're going with it. I assume, based on the ticket sales of Solo, they're probably going to go in a slightly different direction than that. So it's going to be interesting to see. But while Ewan McGregor may not be returning as Obi-Wan, another familiar face from a different franchise is returning after a very long time, and people are fucking excited. Patrick Stewart officially is returning as Captain Picard. He's going to be getting basically his own solo series on the CBS All Access streaming service, same as Star Trek Discovery. And he addressed fans and talked about his time playing the captain and how much he enjoyed it, how excited he is to be back. It was very heartwarming, very emotional. It's great to see him back, because I'm not the biggest Next Generation fan. Not that I dislike it at all. I just haven't seen a whole lot. But I mean, Patrick Stewart is a fucking legend, and Picard is just one of those timeless Star Trek characters. I think probably the most timeless of anyone outside of the original series, and I don't think anyone would really be able to argue that. Other Star Trek news, we got two pieces here. Mr. Ethan Peck has been casted as Spock in Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Some people are a little up in arms about them getting someone else to play Spock, but I mean, Leonard Nimoy is no longer with us, and you can't rely on Zachary Quinto to portray Spock forever. It's okay to have different actors. He looks the part. I don't know anything about his acting, and I doubt anyone else does. He's not a well-known actor, but what is interesting, a little factoid here, Ethan Peck is the grandson of Hollywood legend Gregory Peck from To Kill a Mockingbird. So, if he's anything like his grandfather, I mean, he's got some chops. Last little bit of Star Trek news. Star Trek, not really something we talk about too often here, Jedi Drop Hits Productions, but some Star Trek news here lately. Star Trek 4 has apparently lost Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth due to contract disputes. Nothing official here yet. It's all just reported, but that's a huge loss. Now, not that Chris Hemsworth played a huge part in those movies. I mean, he's a big star, obviously, but losing Chris Pine, losing your Captain Kirk, that's fucking... I don't know, it's going to be hard to pick up from that. I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. It's going to be interesting to see. Some news in the Disney Fox area. Let's see where to start here. Disney, well, of course, as we last reported, Disney, the Fox, the whole deal, that's gone through. That's old news. But what's interesting now is to see exactly what decisions they make going forward. And the first of these is that Disney is going to complete and release any Fox movies that are either finished production or halfway or more through production. So they're not going to scrap movies that are almost done, which is, I mean, that's pretty respectable. Because at that point you're kind of wasting resources and movies that should come to fruition. So I'm not sure exactly what the production schedules on some of these announced Fox movies are. Like, at this point, obviously, X-Men Dark Phoenix, New Mutants, those will release. But announced movies like Doctor Doom, Multiple Man, Fox has been going crazy with that stuff, and I don't know where the production schedules on those movies are, so who knows? Speaking of Fox, new Simpsons and Family Guy movies are apparently in development. That just makes good sense, money-wise. People, as far as I know, the Simpsons movie got pretty good reviews, and following up a sequel to that, as well as doing a Family Guy movie, it just makes sense. Big audiences, there's money to be made. I haven't followed Family Guy like I used to in years now, but if Seth MacFarlane has a bigger part in this movie than he has in recent seasons, then I could see it being pretty good, because the Seth MacFarlane stuff with Family Guy is the better material. Let's see, speaking of Disney and all this stuff, they have been pushing their upcoming streaming service, and they've been releasing details on that, and apparently Ant-Man and the Wasp will be the final Marvel movie released on Netflix, because starting with Captain Marvel, by the time those get to home video release, they will be released exclusively on the Disney streaming service, which makes sense. I mean, you have those properties, it's the best idea to do with them. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. And the Star Wars movies, however, it looks like they're not going to be able to get the rights to any Star Wars movies in terms of streaming and release because of prior contracts until I'm thinking it's going to be episode 9. So I guess we'll still see Solo on Netflix when that time comes, probably this fall sometime. And lastly, there will not be any R-rated movies on Disney's streaming service, which I know, like, them getting Deadpool would maybe be a way to convince people to sign up for that. But Disney is now going to own 60% of Hulu based on this deal, so I would say chances are that's where they're going to send that stuff. Let's see. Let's go right into the Marvel and DC news because there's quite a bit to cover here. Okay, to kick it off, we've actually got a lot of news about the Sony Marvel films, which is pretty rare because they're pretty quiet. For starters, Sony has officially titled their cinematic universe of films. And the title is Sony's Universe of Marvel Characters, or the SUMC for short, which is a little clunky, does not roll off the tongue. It's pretty awkward. I'm not sure whose idea that was, but the SUMC, I guess, is what we have here now. Of course, it's going to be kicked off by Venom this fall. And the Venom movie has actually been changed to PG-13 when originally it was an R-rated movie. And I know a lot of people are going to be a little upset by that because they were looking forward to an R-rated Venom. I, for one, was looking forward to that. I mean, a Venom movie with the R-rated sort of action of Logan or Deadpool would be really fucking cool, but at the same time, Sony needs to make a bit of extra money to afford to make these. PG-13 is a safer bet there. I get it. And also, speaking of Venom, Venom is apparently going to be appearing in all the other movies, or not all of the other movies, but a ton of other movies in this universe, which I expected. I mean, you got a star like Tom Hardy, you make good use of him. And Tom Hardy, last little bit of Venom news here, Tom Hardy has announced, or said in an interview, the 3 people he based his performance of Venom on. And it's a weird fucking list. So, Tom Hardy based his performance as Eddie Brock on a combination of Woody Allen, Conor McGregor, and Redman. So, I'm not sure what to think of that. Like, I like Redman, but Woody Allen's a bit of a creep. Conor McGregor's a bit of an asshole. But, I mean, I get it. I get the, not basing it on Woody Allen's life, because, goddamn it, no. But more so, if you've ever watched a Woody Allen film, he plays these sort of neurotic, paranoid characters. So combine that with, I don't know, maybe Connor's fighting style, or his just kind of overconfidence. Maybe, I'm not sure. Anyway, that'll be interesting to see exactly how that comes through. And more exciting news, they have announced a certain Spider-Man villain who is getting a solo movie. Kraven the Hunter is getting a movie in the SUMC. It's going to be, the script is currently being written by Richard Wenk, the writer of The Equalizer 2. And I think that's pretty awesome. I'm not sure how Kraven's solo movie is going to work if you're not going to include... Well, obviously, they're not going to have a Spider-Man, but, like, I'm not sure if they're going to use a replacement, like a filler, because another little rumor that's leaked out is that Sony is looking to use Silk in place of Spider-Man in some of these movies, so I don't know if that'll be one. Silk, aka Cindy Moon, is a character introduced by Dan Slott and what's the other guy's name? Humberto Ramos in the Amazing Spider-Man comic series from like 4 or 5 years ago. And it's going to be... I'm not sure what they're going to do there, but I mean, Kraven is such a fucking good character. It's about time he got an on-screen appearance. Granted, I would have preferred to see him as the villain in a Spider-Man movie, but, you know, I mean, if you're going to do Kraven versus Venom, that would be cool. I mean, plus you've got Morbius in there already. And let's see, one more piece of, like, Sony's actually doing quite a bit with these movies right now. The Silver and Black movie they were working on, which was the Silver Sable Black Cat team-up movie, they've scrapped that and are instead doing 2 separate solo movies. So, to wrap, we've got Venom, Morbius, which is starring Jared Leto as Morbius the Vampire, Kraven the Hunter, Silver Sable, Black Cat, and potentially Silk, because that's a rumor. So, I mean, they're doing a lot. They're making their moves to actually create a workable cinematic universe based around Spider-Man characters without Spider-Man, which is interesting. I mean, I'm not sure why they wouldn't go with, like, Ben Reilly or something as a fill-in, but I'm sure there's some kind of legal thing going on there with having a second Spider-Man. Now, let's go into the other Marvel stuff here outside of Sony. Let's talk about James Gunn again for a second. This James Gunn conversation is still ongoing. It's so back and forth. There was talk that they 100% are not even considering rehiring him, and then there was some more talk that Disney were pressuring Marvel into rehiring James Gunn, and then all the Guardians of the Galaxy cast, Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, the worst of them. I mean, I'm not going to list them all because every one of them, they did the open letter in support of him. And then Dave Bautista, of course, the Bautista thing, that was huge as well. He claimed in an interview that he would quit Guardians of the Galaxy 3 if James Gunn is not rehired. He sort of backtracked a little on that, but he's strongly standing by James Gunn. And I'm not sure what's going to happen here. I don't know if they'll, like, it would be a huge loss for them, and I don't know if I don't know if many people are really on Disney's side with firing James Gunn here, including their own cast. But the interesting thing that's come out of this is, in the meantime, while this is all getting worked out, and while James Gunn is currently not employed by Disney, he's being courted by, like, every major studio. Everybody wants a piece of this guy. And most notably, DC are trying to get their hands on him, which would be very interesting. I can't think of what property I would want to see James Gunn take on with DC. Like, off the top of my head, Green Lantern Corps could be fun. Obviously, the guy has a knack for space. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. More MCU stuff. Red Skull apparently will be making more appearances after his cameo in Infinity War. In what context, who knows? I can't remember if it was Kevin Feige or the Russos. Somebody has said that, yes, due to the events of Infinity War, he is free to leave the place I cannot remember the name of, that he was basically trapped for so long. Red Skull's free now, so we might get some old school Red Skull back. I'm not sure, but I always love Red Skull, and I always wish they did more with him, so that's great. Spider-Man Far From Home has announced two very familiar cast members. Samuel L. Jackson and Colby Smulders will be appearing in the movie as Nick Fury and Agent Maria Hill. So that's cool. I can see how S.H.I.E.L.D. would work in a movie like that. I do hope that there's someone bigger appearing. I've got my hopes set on Doctor Strange, maybe. And let's see. Deadpool news here. Not really news, just some talk. Terry Crews has said he would love to come back as Bedlam in Deadpool 3, which, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, would be surprising because, as far as we all knew, the audience, Bedlam died horrifically in Deadpool 2. But Terry Crews claims, and he's got a point here, that you didn't actually see Bedlam die. You saw him in rough shape, but no confirmed death. So maybe he's okay. Maybe Bedlam survived that tragic bus accident. And I mean, if he wants to, I don't think that the producers of Deadpool are the type to say no to somebody like Terry Crews. Like, how do you say no to the guy? Anyway, let's see, more Marvel. Got a few more pieces here. Black Panther has hit over $700 million at the domestic box office. It is now officially the biggest superhero opening of all time in North America. Not worldwide, but in North America. Which makes it the third highest grossing domestic film of all time, behind Star Wars The Force Awakens and Avatar. That's fucking huge. That's amazing. So obviously, you're gonna get a trilogy of Black Panther movies. Like, the money never lies. You're gonna see at least 3 of these movies. But it's so fucking cool. It's so great that domestically, in North America, not worldwide, but in North America, I think Infinity War did really, really well internationally, which puts it over a little more there. Domestically, Black Panther has outsold every other superhero movie in existence. Ever. That's amazing. It's fucking incredible. And speaking of the MCU and celebrations, Marvel has announced that they're going to re-release all 20 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films for its 10th anniversary in IMAX. That's going to be running from August 30th to September 6th. I'm not sure if it's select theaters or if they're doing it like a big worldwide event. Not positive on that part, but this makes a lot of sense, and it's exciting because movies that you may have missed over the years, you get to go see on the big screen in all its IMAX glory. One more piece of MCU news here. Director Antoine Fuqua, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, I probably butchered it, has apparently been approached by Marvel and may potentially direct a film for them. If you aren't familiar with him, he is the director behind Training Day, King Arthur, The Equalizer, Southpaw. Like, this guy does gritty action movies. So, I could see him working. I'm not sure what type of movie, what character I'd want to see him take on exactly, but this makes sense. He fits the mold of a Marvel director, in my opinion. So, this is pretty fucking cool. And lastly, in the Marvel news here, it has been revealed Iron Fist Season 2 does not include, but almost included, Moon Knight. Which, I know some of you are screaming into your pillows now that you got so close to having Moon Knight on screen. I forgot to write down the name, but the showrunner of Iron Fist Season 2 has said we almost included Moon Knight. It's very close, and hasn't exactly said why they didn't, but the suspicions, the rumors are that Moon Knight is being saved for the big screen, which is pretty fucking cool. I could see, Moon Knight is one of those characters that is just on the verge of being done live action. Like, for the longest time, when people would be watching Avengers and Thor and Captain America, that you knew Black Panther and Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, these were the characters that were just on that cusp of coming. And Moon Knight is one of those characters. Nova is one of those characters. We're gonna get them. We're absolutely gonna get them. We're getting Captain fucking Marvel. So this is cool. This just, when you hear things like this, when you hear that it became that close, you know it's coming. You know Moon Knight's gonna be on screen in the next couple years, and I'm excited for that. Okay, time to switch sides and get on over to the DC news. Comedian and podcaster Mark Maron of Glow and WTF podcast, is apparently joining the cast of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker Origins film. No word on who he's going to be playing. I would imagine a smaller role, comedic relief. He's a very, very funny guy, and if you haven't seen Glow or listened to the WTF podcast, I highly recommend both. Let's see, DC got a couple of new movies in the works here. First off, and most weirdly, they're apparently making a Super Pets movie. Not sure why or how, but Super Pets is in the works. The script is being written by the writer of the Lego Batman movie and the Lego Ninjago movie. I don't have much to say about Super Pets being adapted. It just is what it is, I guess. Let's see, the other new movie. WB is developing a Supergirl movie, apparently. Again, take it with a grain of salt. DC announces a new movie every week. It's a matter of which ones actually happen, but a Supergirl movie kind of makes sense. Supergirl's gotten pretty fucking popular in the past couple years, and it makes too much sense for them not to do that. Let's see. Last time on the Dropout Report, I reported on the Birds of Prey movie that is in the works. Well, they have revealed the villain for the Birds of Prey movie, and it is none other than Black Mask, who is a huge Batman villain with a huge following. Not as popular as, obviously, the Joker and the Penguin and Mr. Freeze, but Black Mask is a very fucking cool villain and a very solid choice for this movie. Let's see, we've got some more here. Joyvan Wade, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. He has been cast as Cyborg for the upcoming Doom Patrol TV series. And yes, we're still going to get the Ray Fisher Cyborg in the DC films. It's the same as the Ezra Miller Grant Gustin thing. Two actors playing two variations of character for TV and film. And speaking of Grant Gustin, we should probably talk about the controversy around the Flash costume. Just last week, the new costume for the upcoming season of The Flash was leaked. There was a set photo released, and the internet, as usual, got pretty shitty with it, talked about how terrible the costume looked. A lot of people talked about Grant Gustin looking thin and gaunt, and talked about him being anorexic, and made all these terrible comments. So Gustin, being just a fucking class act, responded with an open letter to these people. First and foremost, supporting the costume design, and the future of the show, and then standing up to these body shamers and talking about how proud he is in his own skin, and it's worth going to read. It's fantastic. He's just a hell of a guy. And since then, they have released the poster for the upcoming season. I'm thinking maybe earlier than they meant to, just to address this, and the costume looks absolutely phenomenal. A lot less leather. They lost the chin strap. It looks more like the comics. Probably the closest to the comics than they ever have. So yeah, I'm glad that controversy kind of came out positively. And lastly, the most exciting thing here, they have casted Batwoman in the upcoming CW Batwoman series. Ruby Rose from John Wick Chapter 2 and Orange is the New Black, and just everything internet related. She's more popular than her film roles tend to show. Ruby Rose is fantastic. She's a great actress, and I think this is perfect casting. I think this might be the best casting CW has done yet. It is phenomenal. I cannot wait I think I may, I don't watch all the CW series, but I think I might have to be on board. Ruby Rose as Batwoman just sounds amazing. Okay, got a bit of a mixed bag of news here now, kind of all over the place. The first one I really want to get to is Idris Elba this week was reported to be the top contender to play the next James Bond. He himself has since denied the rumor. There's maybe some doubt about the legitimacy of that rumor, but the internet got really excited about it. I got really excited about it. I've been saying for a while, Idris Elba is absolutely my pick to play Bond. He's made for the role. So I hope there's some truth to it, but, we can always dream. Let's see, Jordan Peele, his upcoming film Us, the director of Get Out, is following up with next year's Us. I'm very excited for that. We talked about it on a Jedi Dropouts episode not long ago. The full cast has been announced. So we've got Lupita Nyong'o from Black Panther, Star Wars. We got Elizabeth Moss from The Handmaid's Tale, Winston Duke again from Black Panther, Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, great job, hilarious show. We've got Yahya Abdul-Mateen II from Aquaman and The Get Down, Anna Diop from the upcoming Titans TV series, Shahadi Wright Joseph from the upcoming Lion King, and the cast is rounded out by a couple child actors named Evan Alex, Madison Curry, Callie Sheldon, and Noelle Sheldon. Don't know much about this movie yet, but honestly at this point I am completely on board for anything that Jordan Peele does. I do not care what it is, I will watch it. And speaking of, I guess, exciting horror, the Stephen King series Castle Rock has been renewed for a second season. And that is exciting for a couple of reasons. Number one, I haven't finished the first season yet, but it is so fucking good. It is amazing. I highly recommend it. Even if you've never read Stephen King, just check it out. I haven't read some of the books that they're talking about and they're referencing in this show, and it is still easy to follow. It is just great horror, great mystery. And also exciting because here at Jedi Dropouts Productions, we are huge fans and supporters of Fat Man on Batman. And co-host of that show, Mark Bernardin, was a writer on this series, and this is one of his first huge writing gigs, and I really hope that he continues to work for them for season 2. I hope he gets brought back. He's a hell of a writer, hell of a guy, and I really hope this is the start of a long and prosperous writing career. Let's see, we've got a reboot of Elf is in the works over at Warner Bros. Who would have thunk it? Elf is coming back. Hide your cats, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, it's fucking Elf. I guess it was a matter of time. They're rebooting everything, so he had to come back eventually. The Andy Serkis directed Animal Farm film has also been purchased by Netflix, who recently purchased the rights to Mowgli, his Jungle Book adaptation. Looks like Andy Serkis has been working on a couple of these high budget motion capture movies for a while. I mean, he's the master of motion capture, so it makes sense. And I'm guessing that Netflix is starting a sort of partnership with Andy Serkis, which is pretty cool. I mean, they've got money to spend. He's got ideas. He's got talent. It seems like a good partnership in that aspect. Let me see. American Horror Story Season 8 has both a title and a returning cast member. It is titled American Horror Story Apocalypse. It will be premiering this fall. We're bringing back most of the cast of Murder House and Coven because it's a crossover of those two series. But most excitingly, Jessica Lange is fucking back. She left the show after season 4. She's a fan favorite. She is a hell of an actress, and she really did steal the scene whenever she appeared in the first 4 seasons. So that's a great addition. Let's see. Director Alex Garland is partnering with FX on a new series called Devs. And this is just exciting in general. I don't know much about the TV show he's working on, but this guy is the director of Ex Machina and Annihilation. He does weird psychological sci-fi, and he does it really well. And FX is a perfect partner for that kind of thing. FX does some weird fucking TV, but they do it so well. So that makes a lot of sense. And lastly, in this category here, the Oscars actually are making some changes next year. They've announced a new category specifically for popular film, for achievement in popular film. And it's going to be more accessible. It's going to be a leaner telecast. So the idea I'm getting is they're trying to bring numbers back up. I'm guessing you're probably going to be able to stream it online. But this popular film category, people are split on it, and I'm kind of split myself, because on one hand, it gives a chance for movies that they would never nominate, because let's be real, they're kind of stuck in their ways. It gives a chance for those movies to take home an Oscar, or to even be recognized. The big one that people are talking about is maybe Black Panther, but on the same side, it's kind of a cop-out, because now they don't have to worry about nominating a movie like Black Panther for Best Picture when it is maybe a film that should be in talks. And, like, I'm really split on it, because, like, you know, they should be able to, like, the Oscars, what they really need is to just get out of their own way and start recognizing movies that, yes, these are blockbuster movies, but that doesn't mean they're not great film. Like, a few years ago, I thought Straight Outta Compton should have been nominated for Best Picture, and it didn't get recognized. But it should have. And look, last year, Baby Driver was another one. So it's that kind of thing where this is what they should do, but this is kind of an okay filler, because I don't think the Oscars are ever going to get to the point of, like, Logan should have been a Best Picture nominee. I don't think they're going to get to that place of Logan and Wonder Woman and Black Panther being Best Picture nominees. So it's kind of a decent compromise in that at least they're going to get recognized as an achievement in film, when the other option is just leaving them out in the dark. I don't know. That's a bigger conversation. I could go on more, but it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Let's see. To close out today's episode, let's get into some video game news, because there's actually a fair bit of interesting stuff here. First off, Tekken 7 released the trailer for their upcoming DLC, and to everybody's surprise, Negan from The Walking Dead is going to be a playable character in Tekken 7, and I have no idea how that partnership came about, or how he's supposed to fit into that universe, but, I mean, I guess that is what it is. I don't know. Microsoft has put together a new in-house studio called The Initiative, but interestingly enough, it has been leaked. The designers and writers they hired are some of the creators of the new Tomb Raider trilogy, God of War, the new God of War from this year, and Red Dead Redemption. So they've got, like, some real fucking good credentials into their new designers for in-house games. So that's pretty cool. Xbox kind of needs it. Let's see. Ben Schwartz, very funny comedian from... lately, he voices on DuckTales. He does some voices, We Bare Bears. He was in a couple other shows. He's been cast as the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in the upcoming animated film. And I believe Jim Carrey was casted as Dr. Robotnik, so that seems like a good comedic pairing. Hopefully they get a good direction for that movie. Let's see. In other kind of casting news, Henry Cavill, best known of course as Superman, has announced that he would love to play Geralt of Rivia in the Netflix Witcher series, which sounds like a terrible idea, to be honest. Number one, because fans and the geek community don't really love Henry Cavill right now because they're not that big on Batman v Superman and Justice League and so on, but also I don't see how he has any of the right chops or abilities to play Geralt. I don't see it even a little bit. I'm not someone who's tied to a certain actor to play Geralt, but I just think it should not be him. That's my own take. Who knows? Maybe he'd do a good job. But it's interesting as well because I guess Henry Cavill is a big geek. I didn't know he knew who the fuck Geralt was. Apparently he's very excited about this. I guess he's a Witcher fan, which, that makes Henry Cavill a little cooler in my eyes. I don't know about you. Let's see. Showtime. The new Halo series that they are working on. They're working on a live-action Halo TV series, and they have announced that the main character in the new Halo series will actually be Master Chief, which shouldn't be surprising. It's the main character from the series, but they've done so many shows now where they just sort of make it exist within the universe instead of actually being the characters in games that you know. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, a lot of video game movies in the works these days. The last one to talk about here is the Metal Gear Solid movie that is upcoming from director Jordan Vogt Roberts. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. He directed Kong Skull Island. Apparently, he wants to make it appeal to hardcore fans. He said he wants it to be the most Kojima Metal Gear movie possible. He wants it to be weird. He wants it to have all of those specific Metal Gear tropes and ideas, and he wants to include a lot of deep cut characters. He doesn't want it to just be a Hollywood version. He said he's willing to slim down on the budget as much as possible just to make that work. So that's pretty cool. It's cool seeing a real fan be in charge of that movie. I'm not the biggest Metal Gear guy, but I do appreciate something being made for the fans. Let's see. Ninja, the Twitch streamer best known for his Fortnite streaming, has become the first Twitch streamer to reach 10 million followers. That's impressive. That's a lot of fucking followers. It's amazing to think that one person could have that many people who want to watch them play video games. And it's a big move forward for streaming and Twitch and YouTube in general. Let's see, 2 more pieces here, but these are the ones that I am most excited about. Blizzard, apparently, I don't know if they announced it or they leaked, but it has surfaced that Blizzard are working on multiple Diablo projects. I'm a huge Diablo fan. I know some of the listeners are huge Diablo fans. Diablo is a fucking amazing franchise, and we've all been waiting for more since Diablo 3. So, multiple projects. Did not say what they were, what consoles they were for, but, there's only so many options here. So, just off the top of my head, I would imagine it is some combination of either Diablo 4, an HD remaster of 1 or 2, a Diablo mobile game, or maybe even Diablo 3 for Nintendo Switch. Any of those makes perfect sense. Any of those sound believable to me. Okay, one more piece of news before I end this. Nintendo had their Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct, and they unveiled, over 100 stages will be in the game. More than 800 music tracks will be available in this game. And, of course, new characters. King K. Rool and Richter and Simone Belmont from Castlevania are all in this game. Very exciting news. I personally love King K. Rool, and that is a high point for me. Now, what they didn't announce, and what is not really official, but there are some rumblings online about what other characters might be in this game, and two in particular are coming up again and again. I mean, I don't know how excited people are about these, but the two that I feel pretty confident are going to be announced are Isabelle from Animal Crossing and a Minecraft character of some sort. Probably Steve, I think, is the main avatar from Minecraft. But those look pretty likely. I'm not sure what else they're going to do in terms of like hardcore fans. I don't know. But it should be interesting. I don't have a Switch, and I don't really have plans to get one yet, but I got some friends who got one. I'm probably going to have to pay them a visit when this game comes out. Maybe spend the night. Maybe just stay there and make good use out of their Switch. Maybe potentially talking about fellow co-hosts of mine who currently have a Switch or are planning to get one. And on that note, that is the end of today's Dropout Report, where you get all your geek news. I mean, where else are you going to go? Are you going to go to IGN? Come on. Are you going to go to Kotaku or The Nerdist? Come on, those guys don't have shit on us. You got to come to the Dropout Report. We got it all. We got every bit of fucking geek news. And if we don't have it, then it's not important, and you didn't need to know anyway. As always, you can listen to other episodes of the Jedi Dropouts Report, Jedi Dropouts, Final Form, Hyper Battle, whatever else we do, over at www.jedidropouts.podbean.com. And we're also available on pretty much every platform. We're on Google Play, we're on Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, YouTube. We're around a lot of places. And stay tuned to our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those. We've always got other side things going on. James does some YouTube and Twitch stuff. We got some contests, things like that. And of course, we're going to be appearing at Atlanticon coming up in the end of September. It's around September 28th. We're going to have a table there. We're going to be doing some cool stuff. We're going to be filming. We're going to be recording. And until next time, I have been Ryan Taylor. This has been the Dropout Report, and thank you all for listening.
This has been a Jedi Dropouts production.